at the Alternative Products Expo in the Broward County Convention Center. And I can't believe I actually remember the name of the show.
You did
because
good.
typically I don't do that. We're joined by Aisha Alves, who is, I recently promoted her to like director of content, but I think you're director of membership for CLAB. I don't remember our titles.
Education chair.
Education chair. I knew it sounded a lot better than that.
I love the sound of director, so I might take that one.
I mean, you do handle most of our content, if not all of our content, especially the national level panels. So, you know, I would see you as director of content.
Let's see.
We do need a producer for the podcast too.
Hey, you know, we should talk to the powers that be.
Aisha, you know, one of the reasons I wanted you to sit down while we're here is there's a lot of different things going on in the industry right now. There's some positive things. I talk to a lot of people. Unfortunately, there is a lot of negativity about the industry too. I wanted to reach out to you because of the insight that you have. You do a lot of work working with the HR departments of company. You see who's hiring, what they're hiring for, how they're hiring, what they're paying, a lot of intimate details of these companies. What are some of the trends that you're seeing in the industry just based on what you do?
Yep. Well, I think there's a lot of things that are happening in the industry right now. I mean, whether you call it positive or negative, this industry is just, as always, going through a lot of change. So some of the things that we are seeing are definitely showing and pointing to trends for the upcoming year. So one of them is actually something that has been going on for a long time, which is cultivation really being the #1 driver of new job creation in the industry. Yeah, because until we have interstate commerce, the #1 most important thing we're going to need is happy plants in every single state and every single market. And in order to do that, you need really strong cultivation talent. So whether that means, you know, director level, managers, you know, hourly workforce, those jobs are always going to be in demand. And what's great is that once you get into those positions, there's a high level of training and also a high level of upward mobility. So it's a great entry point for the industry from a job standpoint.
Very cool. So if people wanted to transition into a cultivation role, what kind of experience or what kind of backgrounds are most companies looking for?
A lot of times they're looking for people for management level with experience in either like manufacturing operations or cultivation from other industries. We actually have a cultivation hiring department within FlowerHire, like a specific practice that focuses on cultivation talent. So I can put the link down here and you can check that out a little bit more.
Very cool. Now we're going to have to remember to put the link down there.
Well,
Aisha, I know I grabbed you out to Florida to sit down with us. Is there anything else you want to share before I let you get back to it?
Yeah, definitely. There are some other things that we're seeing that are good news within the industry. And one of those is also the rise of what we call glue jobs, right? Glue jobs would be that pivotal person that kind of bridges between the make side and the revenue side, right? So these are people who are very data driven, people who can bring those two segments of the business together and help guide the organization into maturity. So that is something that we're seeing a lot of demand for now. And, you know, speaking of the maturity of an organization and also the maturity of the industry in itself, we're also seeing a growth and a development of like human capital services, which is interesting because when you think about it, when you're running a cannabis company, you need payroll, you need benefits, you need a learning management system. You know, 5 years ago, the cannabis industry did not have a lot of options for that. And what we're seeing now is a lot more of a market for that, a lot more of a mature level of options when it comes to human capital. So definitely another thing to look into. I will put another link down here. You can learn more about that.
Very cool. So we're starting to see a lot of these companies mature and really structure themselves like any other company that somebody would work for.
Exactly. It's all about leveling up. It's all about kind of, you know, best practices and really bringing the standard of operational maturity up to, you know, where other industries are. It's exciting.
Okay. Well, what other advice could you give to somebody looking for a job in the industry?
I think, you know, you got to give it a try. You got to look at what are the things you're good at and what are the things that you can pivot into the industry. A great starting point is to have a resume that is specifically pointed toward the cannabis industry. If you go to careersincannabis.com, there's actually a tool where you fill your stuff out and it's free and it will generate like a cannabis tailored resume. They look awesome and it's just a great starting place when you want to start getting yourself out there.
Very cool. Well, Aisha, thank you so much for joining us. And how can people find you?
How can they find me? Well, you can find FlowerHire on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and I am always at these events wearing an orange dress, so keep your eye out for me as well.